President Trump telling the New York Post he's considering forcing Congress to return for a rare special session to resolve the record-long funding lapse for the Department of Homeland Security. The lawmakers currently are on recess until April 14th. That's a date that would mark 2 full months without pay. This would be the first special session since 1948. Senate Republicans, meanwhile, preparing a budget reconciliation bill to fund DHS for 3 years without Democratic support, aiming to secure funding for agencies including ICE, CBP, TSA, FEMA, and the Coast Guard. I want to bring in Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar. He is a member of the House Appropriations Committee. Congressman, good morning to you, sir. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, and good morning to you.
So you are a Democrat, but you've consistently voted to keep the government open. What are your thoughts right now on what you're seeing and this threat from the president to force you to come back to work, to come back to D.C.?
Well, first addressing the issue about the president, I don't think the president can force us back. It's a decision that the Speaker of the House and certainly Senator Thune needs to make. That as the majority leader, that's the Speaker of the House. And I agree, we should be back in Congress till we work this. We shouldn't be back here in the district. But again, the majority makes that decision. Look, one of the things I've seen is that people, are both Democrats and Republicans, are using shutdowns as a leverage to get policy decisions. I think that's wrong. We ought to fund government and we ought to work out those policy decisions. But more and more, we're seeing shutdowns as a leverage point, and that is wrong.
Well, but at the same time, the Senate, the Senate in a bipartisan way did pass a path forward, and then the House rejected it. That came from Speaker Mike Johnson. And I think the concern on the House side is that all of a sudden, when you have this conversation, this debate reopen back up, you're going to get members on both sides, Democrats and Republicans. They're going to put in add-ons in order to give their vote to be willing to reopen the government, or reopen DHS and at least fund the department. That is the concern. That's a fiscal concern. What are your comments on that?
Well, look, first of all, it's now become a intra-party discussion between the Republicans in the Senate and the Republicans in the House, the majority in both of them. Look, we need to address this shutdown. There is a funding issue, and then there are policy differences. But I'm one of those. I never believe in defunding police. I never believe in defunding ICE. But I certainly believe in putting policy rail guards on ICE. I'm the ranking member in the Homeland Security. I've been in the Homeland Appropriations for almost over 10 years, should I say. And it's one of those things that we can address it. And a lot of it on the policy decisions, it's not going and create new laws. It's actually going back the way the policies that were in place a year or 2 years ago.
Well, not to push back, and this is an old argument, but I got to, just revisit the fact that, that the Republicans had said that they were willing to change ICE practices. ICE got funding last summer, you know that. But at the same time, whether it was body cameras or, not going into houses of worship, not going into schools, hospitals, things like that. The Republicans did come to the table and say that they were willing to put those changes put forth, and the Democrats pushed back. I don't know if this is more of a Hakeem Jeffries argument. I don't know if you've had any conversations with him recently, or if this more is on the Senate side. But at the end of the day, whether the blame ends up being on the Democrats or the Republicans, in a midterm year, this is a very dangerous place to be.
Well, look, I've looked at some of those policy agreements. Mark Hamadeh, my Republican chairman on Homeland, myself, and others, we worked out some agreements on policies, cameras, monies for training, de-escalation. We added a lot of policies on it, but there's a couple of issues that need to be addressed. How do we work the issue about masks? And I think there is a way of working that out, in my personal opinion. And the other thing had to do with, do you need a judicial warrant? If you look at what the ICE director put out, an internal policy back in May of 2025, they used to say that you needed a judicial warrant, that is, an administrative warrant was not enough to go into somebody's house with certain exceptions. So that's why I keep saying, let's go back the way it was and we can work this out. But the problem is this, the way they negotiate, they send something and then they wait a couple of days, they send another piece of paper. That is wrong. Negotiation means you put people in the same room, you lock the door. If you have to turn off the air conditioner or the heater, just keep people in one room, have people sit down and work it out. The negotiations, with all due respect of our leadership, and I'm talking about Democrats and Republicans, that's not the way to negotiate long-distance negotiations.
All right. So you're willing to come back to work if President Trump asks you to do so?
Well, it's not the president. It is, again, the Speaker of the House will make the decision. And if the Speaker calls us back, I'm ready to go. We should have not left till we work this out.
All right. All right. I think many people agree with that statement. So President Trump is set to address the nation tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern time, for what we're being told is an important update on Iran. Now, the administration is signaling the end of this conflict maybe in just weeks. Listen to this.
I think with 2 or 3 weeks,
Not 3 weeks. If it is
we'll
3
leave
weeks,
because
then it
there's
would
no
be
reason for us to do this. Look, now it's possible that we'll make a deal before that because we'll hit bridges, and we've hit some. We'll hit some bridges. Got a couple of nice bridges in mind. But if they come to the table, that'll be good. But it doesn't matter whether they come or not. We've set them back. It'll take 15 to 20 years for them to rebuild what we've done to them.
You know, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that President Trump told aides he's willing to end the conflict without reopening the Strait. There was a report in the Wall Street Journal that the UAE is willing to join the fight to force the Hormuz Strait open, but there's pushback now on that reporting from UAE officials. That's new this morning, Congressman. Your thoughts and what we expect to hear from the president tonight?
Well, you know, I said on defense appropriations also, and I'm familiar with, the military assets that we destroyed. I'm familiar with their military industrial complexes. That is, their companies that develop weapons and drones and that type of situation. So, you know, I understand we have to have specific reasons for going in, specific objectives. And again, we got to understand what is their center of gravity that we need to go after. And I think we have attacked and destroyed that. Now the question is, do we have an exit strategy? Before you go into a conflict, you got to have clear objectives and a center of gravity that you need to go after, and then the exit. So, look, I think we've accomplished a lot of those. The 1973 War Resolution Power says, you know, from 60 to 90 days, Congress needs to have a role. I voted for I want to see 30 days, and I think we're already past the 30 days where Congress needs to play a role. But Iran is a danger, and I think we have attacked and destroyed their industrial complex and their weapons. And I thank the administration for doing that. But I think we need to go ahead and wind down very soon. Well,
we certainly are going to be watching the president in those comments tonight, where he does talk and give us an update on what the plan is. And again, the length of that plan. Congressman Henry Cuellar, it's great to see you, sir. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, and good morning to you.
All right. Thank you.